What's going on, my babies? We're here in Sydney. I just got done competing at the Australian Arnold Row Rock in Melbourne. I decided to take a little hike, a little trip here to Sydney to visit Sebastian Oreb over at Base Gym. I've heard a lot of great things about it, about the gym, about Bass. This is my first time meeting him, and so I'm really excited to be training with him and pick his brain about all things squat related and bench, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah, word on the street is he has a secret wrap technique that he first got from the Lily Bridges and then has adapted to make his own. And if you've ever squatted in wraps, you know that the difference between a miss and a make can be a good wrap job. So,
you know what's funny? I feel like everyone has like a secret wrap thing. Does it feel?
No, it's like
anytime you're like, oh, you know, this is how I wrap. People are always like,
it's like
that's how you wrap.
It's like chiropractors. Everybody's guy is the best.
Yeah.
You know, my wrap job is the best. You have to do it this way.
When Hayden was wrapping for my last squat, Bass told me that he was looking at it and was like, oh no, is that how he's gonna wrap her? You're gonna miss that squat with that wrap job.
And he thought
like
it was,
you walked away or whatever.
And he thought it was a loose wrap job, but it was like the tightest we've ever wrapped you. So it'll be interesting to see what his special wrap job is.
My name is Sebastian Oreb. I also go by the name of the Australian Strength Coach. I train some of Australia's strongest athletes in multiple sports. I also train the world's strongest man, Hafthor Bjornsson. I'm a powerlifter in the 110 kilogram class. I own the current Australian squat record. I also own the Australian log press record.
So think about what you would tell someone that is struggling with squats. Like, how would you improve them? Or like someone that's a beginner, how would you improve? Not like the highest level lifters.
So just so that you're aware of how I do things, just so that you know how I'm going to answer these questions. Something that I talk about a lot is I don't really treat general population like general population. I have a rule, and that is you need to earn the right to add weight to the bar. So if you're a 400 kilogram squatter and your empty barbell looks like shit, I'm not going to add weight to the bar until it starts looking smooth. Then we can add weight to the bar. So it doesn't really matter how strong you are. And I kind of treat everyone the same. So there's not really a huge amount of rule changes, except I like to know how strong people are so I know roughly where we're going. But apart from that, the cues are very much the same.
I think that is a super important message too, because like I have kind of like that same mentality coming from Olympic weightlifting, especially because it's such a skilled movement.
Yeah.
You know, in order for anyone to get a bar from the floor to the overhead, like it requires a certain degree of like coordination and athleticism and agility, right? And so we are kind of like wired that way of like, all right, technique first, like make sure that you know how to move, make sure that you respect the weight of the barbell, make sure that you understand how it works, and then you can start adding weight. But like in a squat, a bench, or a deadlift, because it's less skilled and necessary, then people think that just because they can muscle their way through like a squat, bench, or a deadlift, then they can just add indefinite amounts of weight to the bar.
Like one of the biggest errors that people make is they drop too fast. I'm not a fast squatter. Right. Some people are, but I don't work well that way. When I put my max weight on my back, I know I can't drop fast. So I don't drop fast with an empty barbell either. And that's what I ask people, how fast are you going to drop down on that top weight? How fast do you drop down? And they say, much slower than this. Well, why are you practicing like this? Practice the way that you're going to do the top set. And that changes people's mindset straight away. And it changes the way that they warm up. And a lot of the times, that allows them to lift a heavier weight. Exactly.
So when you're coaching someone in the squat, do you have kind of points that you teach, kind of like a textbook form that you teach them from which you evolve afterwards?
For sure. So the way I say it is a one-size-fits-all approach, but the way it presents from lifter to lifter is different. But the more and more I learn about people, the more I see we've still got to follow these same principles. You still got to hit that bullseye. You still got to put a barbell on your back. You still got 2 arms, 2 legs, a pelvis. Where your stance is will be different, best, but we're still going to follow the same rules. And yeah, I do have the same cues. So whenever I do like a unilateral movement, I fall over. Or if something hurts, maybe it's just an indication that I need to do more of it.
Absolutely.
But I think that even goes back into what you were saying in your talk at the Strength Summit, where it's like, even if you're gonna work on your weaknesses, don't not work on your strengths.
Yeah.
So as far as frequency goes, how often would you suggest that someone squats a week? Because in at least like in bodybuilding and general fitness, I think there's kind of that thought that you should only train like one body part one time or 2 times per week. So how often would you train squats? And do you think there's any sort of consideration, male versus female?
Absolutely, yeah. So the correct answer for this is it depends. I speak to someone like you, and then it's like all these rules that I had are just broken now. What I said don't do, it's like Stefi's doing it and she's top dog, when I say dog, you know what I mean. I'm not calling you a dog, but you're the man, I'm still forever learning, but I did have a lot of theories, and that is that women can generally handle more of everything, except for less. They can handle less rest, which is more frequency, more intensity, more volume, less rest between sets, less rest between workouts, less food. So they can really take a beating and continue to move forward at a lot better rate than men. And I brought this down to not just the hormonal differences, that's what a lot of people talk about, and I talk about load is king. If a girl is lifting the same amount of weight as a guy, she needs the same amount of recovery as that guy. Right. So if you're lifting 400 kilograms and I'm lifting 400 kilograms, we need the same amount of rest. But it's like we're continuing to test new boundaries, and it's like people like you come along and lift heavier weights, and you're breaking the rules and you're setting new rules now, and people learn from people like you to see what's actually possible. I
also think like when you say that, if people are basing my success on what they see now, it's just kind of just gracing the tip of the iceberg, because I did train like that. I used to do 9 squat sessions a week, and I think if there's a skill that you're trying to get better at, then you have to do that skill every single day. When would you say, because obviously how I think about it is we're not robots. There are going to be movement deviations you're going to see. You're going to see people with like a slight knee cave, or you're going to see people with a slight butt wink. When in your opinion is it a time for you to address that, if at all? So
I'm addressing it all the time. I'm working towards a perfect picture, but I accept that it's never going to be perfect, and we're just continuing to even for my sets. So I'll often get, if we're doing a session with an athlete or whomever it is, myself or an athlete, I'll record all of the sets. So from the very first time we touch an empty barbell, that recorder is usually on. And I'll go back and I'll have a look at the set and I'll say, where's your head, where's your knees, what came in? I'm not gonna say, no, your knees deviated, your butt winked slightly, you're not allowed to add weight to the bar. It's not to that extreme. Those are the things that's like, okay, great, we need to work on that. Make sure the knee doesn't come in that time. So it's hard to put a measurement on these things, as you know. But you know that those little things, those imperfections, they're just gonna happen, and it's fine. The body is very resilient. But it doesn't mean we don't work on correcting it every single time.
Yeah, I think also an important thing about that, we've spoke about it, is if the technique breakdown occurs at, say, I don't know, at 70% and up, a common mistake people make is they avoid 70% and they just stay below 70% because you want to avoid the technique flaw from happening. But I think you should still take yourself to that 70% and above, and that's where you make the corrections.
My accessories or supplementary exercises that I have for my squats are generally more squats. So it depends on who the athlete is. If it's a powerlifter, especially in the sport like ours where we're wrapping our knees as well, the competition lift for us is a low bar squat with knees wrapped. So that's our main movement. And a lot of the times, especially coming closer to competition time, at least the last 2 months is going to be specific to the competition lift. And the accessory movements are going to be exercises that are going to be strengthening the muscles that we're slightly neglecting. Compensate for the movements that you're not doing in your main movement. Simple.
Makes sense.
Is a new one.
So they'll use these like 10 times.
Yeah, so I'd say, I believe that the more you use them, the better. But these ones have been used for years. Thor used them in his comp, I used them in 3 different comps, and I've had a few other athletes that have used them in a number of comps, not to mention the amount of training sessions that we've used in them. And they get better and better, and they get softer and softer, and they stretch more. And I'm about the revolutions. Yeah. But let me just try it on you first. Right. But the way that I do it, I start here. So I used to start on the tibial tuberosity, but even that's a little bit too low. Okay. And it's a little bit of wasted wrap. So I come around here, okay? This is where I start. So it's just under the patella. Compared to where you guys are, you're a little bit lower than that.
Yeah.
So to me, that's a little bit wasted wrap. And that can make, how do your calves, do your calves ever cramp? Do you ever feel any strains in your calves?
I do.
So that's because it's holding onto the calf and it's changing the attachment point. So this is how I'd start you with this. I'd go 3 up from here. And this is essentially the thickness of the wrap. That's all. That's all you need. Like I got Thor this thick. X across. That's a comfort wrap.
Damn, that already feels much tighter than
usual.
The wrap I do for myself.
But it's not only that it's tighter, it's concentrated where it's needed. Like think of, that's where the joint is, it's right here. So anything here and there, this is comfort.
Wow, no, I love that.
Really?
Yeah.
That's 3 up, X, 2 down. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 10.
Should probably hit a PR.
No. You actually sore from yesterday.
Maybe 230. Why don't you just start with light wraps? Start with it.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Can I wrap you for 1 plate?
Sure.
Yeah?
Where's the other one?
That was elastic, so we were using it.
Oh, no, that's fine. This works well. We use this here.
Oh, okay.
That's fine.
They're pretty comfortable. These have a lot more give.
Yeah, these are
This is warm.
These are his warm-up
Oh,
ones.
okay.
Yeah, these ones suck. You won't do a heavy one on this, no way.
These are like weightlifting wraps. Like Olympic weightlifting.
These are beautiful. This is like what I would.
If I like maxed out at cleaning these,
Yeah.
Hayden and I just opened the camera from our phone and just watched his whole session for 2 hours.
Whose
Like,
session?
McGregor's.
Right.
Like
From our
absolute
security
creeps.
cameras.
They
Yeah.
grabbed the popcorn and were like,
What was he doing? Anything special? No. Just hitting pads.
He's doing just like super high rep, low weight belt squat, pull-ups, yeah, and then sled push. Did it like a circuit for an hour.
My shoulder mobility really sucks.
Great job.
And then I force my arms in on my top set. My belt goes tighter, my knee wraps get tighter, my hands come closer every time I add weight to the bar. And the weight feels the same. That's the maths games that I always play.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's hard for me to always max out singles before comps because the danger involved, the risk involved, the recovery required. So it's like always playing with sub-maxes. But then it's like something that's a little bit safer than sub-maxes, singles, is my 5s, or 4s or 3s. So.
Did you just run a marathon or something? You do cardio at all?
Yeah, that was cardio. The look of disapproval. Lucky. To be honest
It's the
with
worst when you're known for a lift.
Yeah, the pressure.
Yeah, and you're then underperforming your first attempt. I missed my opening deadlift at Boss of Bosses. Was it last year?
What number was that?
Year before.
220.
No, something so it was like 190, and she missed it on.
No, that was 2 years ago. The 190. Yeah.
Well, whatever it was super light for you. It was conservative, and her grip slipped off the bar.
Dude, my grip. I'm like, oh, that's it. Your grip slips on the first rep, on the first opening deadlift.
Nothing else.
But it was the chalk that they used there was like really powdery. You know which one? Like the one that feels like baby powder.
Yeah, I know the one.
I had to smell it. I'm like, are they with me?
Yeah.
Is this baby powder? Is someone sabotaging me?
Yeah.
So it felt so soft.
So what did you do?
And then Yuri Belkin was there. He's like, come here. He takes me over to his corner. He's like, try this. Gives me like a
Liquid chocolate. Yuri Belkin, like.
Awesome.
Cool guy.
Oh my gosh. So I met him first time at the US Open in 2017.
Boss of Bosses first time you met him.
First time? Yeah, you're right. Boss of Bosses. And then he saw my shoes. I was deadlifting in Chucks. And he's like, no, that sucks. Don't lift in that. When I meet you again, I bring shoes from Russia. And I'm like, all right, sick. So he remembered. And the next time he saw me, he brought me a pair of deadlift shoes. He brought me a t-shirt.
Aww.
That's
Yeah,
so cool.
super sweet. Yeah. And that was all for my training here in Sydney. I hope you guys enjoyed as much as I did. I'm excited to come back next year and train again at Base Gym. And like always, remember if you have any questions, drop it down below. Any suggestions, any things that you want to see, make sure to leave it in the comment section. And where can they find you?
At Australian Strength Coach on Instagram.
You have it.
Let's go, Stefi. Yep. That's it. Ooh.
Fucking syrup at the end of the cup. That's all sugar. Should be a good time. Cheers. You know?
Warming up, yeah, 100%. Is that your warm up thing?
Yeah.
That's what you did with Jordan?
Yeah.
And he was just looking at you like.
Yeah.